There she is.
Hello.
Hi, hello, Ms. Ntokozo Mbuli. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you, Miss
I'm
Sunny?
I'm very, very well. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. As everyone joins, again, I want to welcome you guys to Rewriting the Script. This is our season finale. So thank you so much, Ntokozo, for gracing us for this very, very important episode. We have on with us today is Ntokozo Mbuli, who is working with at least over 20 years in this industry. It was very important that we kind of end off the season with a bang, with someone who has an immense amount of industry experience. So with 20 years in the industry, I'm pretty sure there's nothing you haven't done, but I'm going to zip through a few of the things that you have done. You've been an on-air presenter, a script writer, executive producer, creative content producer, new business developer, general manager, and now you run and have founded your own company, which is SugarBean Pictures, which we're going to talk about. For those who don't know, she is the creator of a new SABC drama coming out tomorrow called Vuta, but you've also been on 50/50 as producer and presenter. You've worked on Ashes to Ashes, behind the scenes, and countless award shows. You've written the SAFTAs, etc. I mean, it's a lot. So welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Sunny. Thank you.
It's an absolute pleasure. The way we start every episode is that I want to know from you, what is it about a story?
Sure. What is it about a story? I don't know if there's like one answer to that, because it's a feeling, Sunny. I don't know how to really explain it, because I find that a lot of my most successful pieces of work are works that have come to me in the most organic manner at a time that is not scheduled. I've never done, if I was given a task to conceptualize something that needs to be submitted in 2 weeks' time, I think probably 100% of the time that I've had to do that, it's never been successful. The most successful bodies of work that I've had were bodies of work that just came to me, as an idea in a very organic manner, in a strange time, very unexpectedly. I take out my book, I scribble, and then eventually it'll be something that's submission worthy, and then I just wait for a time when I can propose it to whoever the gatekeeper is, and then I just propose something that's already there.
So is it safe to say you have an arsenal of like ideas, stories, shows, concepts that are just sitting and waiting for the right synergy? That is a hectic board.
That's my board in my office. So yeah, you jot it down, you park it as something that's going to be worked on. It's an idea, and every time I think on it, I work on it some more, and then when the opportunity arises for me to take it to someone, whether it's a broadcaster or a funder or sponsor, then it's something that's been worked on over time.
I think you touch on something so important there, is that as creatives, is that you must always have something ready, because you can't just rely on, okay, Mzansi Magic needs a show about women now, because that won't make you sustainable. So you must always have things sitting in the background that you can manipulate and work with.
Yeah. That's exactly right. A lot of the time, I mean, my team that I work with in development will tell you that a lot of the time when something comes up, when we read that Mzansi Magic is looking for something, or SABC is looking for something, we go to our list of things that we have ready, because development is not a linear process, and you can't give it a time frame. Do you know what I mean? Because sometimes a drama series, or even non-fiction stuff, game shows and magazine shows and that type of content, sometimes to conceptualize it is something that happens over time. So you must always have something ready. You must. And also, you never, you know, the Mzansi Magics and the SABCs and, you know, whoever the broadcasters that commission work will tell you when they're looking for something, and that's what you expect, that every so often they're going to be looking for something, or they'll have an open window for unsolicited proposals. But you never know when you're going to bump into somebody. I mean, I once bumped into someone from Disney Africa, told them what I do, and they said, so what kind of projects do you do? And I named a few, and they said, won't you send me a reel for this one? And, you know, the fact I was like, needed a bit of tweaking, but I was so grateful that the next day I could send something to say, well, this is the reel for the thing that I was talking to you about last night. And some work comes that way, you know, unexpectedly from unexpected sources. Yeah. So you must always be ready.
So, guys, as you can already hear, Ntokozo is going to be dropping intense pearls of wisdom throughout this live. So if you have any questions that you would like me to ask her, please put them in the comment section. I will incorporate them and find a way to ask her for them. I want to speak about your baby, not your literal baby, SugarBean Pictures, which I know that you run and, you know, was your baby, and you kind of molded it and everything. What's very important to me is kind of that this show is not just about film and TV, is that we're doing a lot of work for like different people in different industries. And I'm going to quote you. You said, I don't have an entrepreneurial background at all. I wanted to be employed all my life, but I was too passionate about the kind of content I wanted to be a part of. So tell us how you go from wanting to be employed all your life, which is what I think a lot of us have been told is the way to do it, to branching out on your own, starting your own company, and being like, I'm going to do this thing, and kind of seeing where it goes.
So when you work in this industry, having a permanent job is something that is very rare. You're either freelancing, or you're on fixed term contract, or you're on this production, or you're on that production. You know, unless you're working at the broadcasters themselves, having a permanent job is something very rare, right? Yes. So I started in this business when I was 16 years old, and I used to go and work at SABC 1 during my school holidays. Then I studied audiovisual production, and then all that time I went to the UK. I worked for Endemol in the UK. In all that time, everything was temporary. Everything was temporary. I just remember even my parents not being happy about the industry that I had gone into because it was temporary. Yeah. To be able to be employed in a production company on a permanent contract was like the ultimate. It was like, I am going to be here forever, and I'm going to work my way up, and I'm going to be at the top, and this is where I'm going to stay until I die. I'm just going to be employed, and I'm going to work in, actually, the specific companies where I thought this is where my career is going to begin and end. Yeah. But then the thing is, the more you work, you know, the environment that I used to work at Clive Morris Productions, and the environment that company gave me was, it opened my eyes to so many other genres of television and film that I could work on, because up until that point, even when I was in the UK, I was very much a non-fiction, non-scripted girl. Yeah. I was very much factual programming, magazines, shows, you know, those kinds, game shows, kids shows, that kind of stuff. Yeah. And then I started getting excited. And then I thought, you know, what if we do a show that speaks to positive change in this area? Or what if we do a show that is going to change a community there? Or what if we do a show that is going to showcase the plight of a certain group of individuals, or, you know, whatever. I remember my boss, he used to call them Erin Brockovich stories. That it's going to take so long. Yeah, he was like, it was going to take so long to get it approved, and then when it's approved, it was going to take so long for it to actually even make any kind of change that you can see.
Mm,
All
mm.
this time, I'm working on 50/50. Now, I worked on 50/50 for 12 years, right?
Yes, yes.
And my family will tell you that there's a petrol station in Eguruleni that is like half built and has been that way for about 10 years. And nothing ever came of it. Every time we drive past that petrol station, I say 50/50 closed that petrol station down because it was built on a wetland, right? And for 10 years, it has never been able to be built because 50/50, the environmentalists saw it on 50/50, they were passionate about it, and they stopped construction. And it's been like this half-built petrol station that's just been on the side of the road for 10 years. And I think to myself, what if it's not an environmental message, and what if it's not a petrol station? Imagine if you could do that for social justice, for climate justice, for education, for filling the gaps in our history, for nation building, for social tolerance, for shaping the way the world sees South Africa and Africa. Imagine you could do that, right? Imagine you could say, I produced a show, or I was part of a show that made this change. I can see it. I can see it, right?
Yes.
And the longer I thought about it, and I know it is Erin Brockovich vibes, and I know that it's difficult to convince even broadcasters or funders or sponsors to buy into that. But I became so passionate about it that I thought to myself that if I start my own production company, then I'm already eliminating like one tier in the process, because if I'm employed, I first have to convince my bosses that we need to do this, and then I go with my bosses, and then we convince the next person, right?
Yeah.
And if I go on my own, that is the ethos of who I am, that is the ethos of my business, that is the ethos of the content that we make, and I've now eliminated one of the hurdles, and I'm going directly to the next one. So that is how SugarBean Pictures came about, because, you know, I was just so passionate that that's what I wanted to do. The journey is a whole different story, because about a year in, I think I was starting to change my mind, because then I started to realize that actually society has got an appetite for the high entertainment and the reality shows and the melodramas of telenovelas, and that's what they want, you know. And because that's what they want, then that's what the broadcasters want, and because that's what they want, that's what the sponsors will buy into, you know. So it was quite difficult for me to stand firm in that, because it looked like it was not working. It looked like this content with purpose business that you're trying to do is not working. Nothing of yours is getting commissioned. Nothing of yours is getting sponsored. You just go to meetings all the time. Meanwhile, your startup capital is getting obliterated. But I'm still there, and I'm still in it.
You are now what, in the second year of your business, trying to do what you call, what's the term that you've coined is
content with purpose.
Content with purpose. And in the second year, I mean, it's going to get tough. It's only going to get tougher, because you are right. That is what broadcasters want. That's what they want written, and that's what they want made. So with you being such an advocate for environmental issues and for social justice issues and all of that, have you then had to take a knock financially, or in the kind of work that you make, in order to get your social justice message across?
Yeah. So, yeah, taking a knock is probably a very huge understatement, because you lose everything and you start questioning, was it worth it? You know, am I so passionate about changing society and changing perspectives about things, not even just the environment, not even just climate justice, you know, just about women storytellers, and women in general, or you know, about us as Black people, you know, and things that have irritated me along the way. You know, my father, he used to say to me, I have an obsession with the history of the British monarch. my father used to say to me, if only you knew so much about the Swazi royals and the history of the Swazi royals, or the history of the Xhosa royals, because that's where your heritage is. But you can tell us everything about the British going back to 18 something something, you know? And that's something that's always stuck with me, is that, like, why don't I know about my own history? Why do I have to dig in places that require me to go to faraway lands to hear stories? You know, things that have irritated me. I was just like, that's what I want to try and fix, and I want to do one thing. I'm not gonna fix it all. We're not going to wake up one morning and then SugarBean Pictures has suddenly fixed all our historical issues of the past. But if I do this one thing, I'm contributing to something that, and I must believe that I mean, I just, you know, I watch what Ava DuVernay does and how she integrates social issues into high entertainment. And I feel like you cannot box that kind of content into just factual and educational. You cannot say that if you want to know about your own history, or if you want to know about, you know, social justice issues, or if you want to know about environmental message, historical messages, whatever, it only sits as factual content, or it only sits as educational content, and it can only be on certain channels. You know, I say, and I say this to my team all the time, right, that if a broadcaster is looking for a drama series, we can put the message in the drama series. If the broadcaster is looking for a game show, we can put the message in the game show, right? I'm not opposed to making game shows. I'm not opposed to making dramas. I want to make dramas. But I just want to make something that is purposeful, that has got some kind of thing. Everything that I do is driven by a specific purpose. It just doesn't come out of nowhere. Even the creation of Vuta. Everyone who worked with me when I was at Clive Morris Productions will know how passionate I felt about other townships being exposed in mainstream television and film, right?
Okay, hang on, I'm going to pause you there because I want to speak about Vuta by itself, but I do want to stay on this topic that you're on about social messaging inside your work, because it is very important. And you can also tell, I want to ask you as a Black woman, because you worked on a show like 50/50 for 12 years. Firstly, there is a misconception, I believe it's a misconception, that Black people do not care about the environment, that environmental issues are not on our forte. And I know you've corrected me on several occasions to say we do care about the environment, that all of this, that our land and everything that encompasses all of us is very important. So it was very interesting for me to have a Black woman not only be the face of a show like 50/50, but also be behind the scenes producing these shows to try and get environmental issues handled.
Yeah, so I'm very passionate about the work that I did on 50/50. 50/50 ended up, I mean, those who watched 50/50 will know that when I joined 50/50, I couldn't give a beep about the environment, okay? I didn't know anything about the environment. I didn't know about nature. I didn't know about wildlife. I just needed a job, right?
Yes. Yes.
And 50/50 gave me it was actually a side hustle, because at the time I was working at SABC2 special events. 50/50 needed someone to do their book reviews. I just had to read books, come on air, speak for 3 minutes about the books once a week. Okay. And over the course of 12 years, I grew into the anchor presenter and the series producer and the executive producer. A very interesting thing happened during that time was that I then became that person that I didn't expect to become, who would be passionate about the environment. But some of the things that used to irritate me about the view of conservation, just a general view of conservation, was that the reason why conservation messages are not getting to Black people, and why conservation messages are not part of they're not in the consciousness of Black people, right, is because more education is needed. We need more education in the townships. We need more education in the rural areas for people to save the planet, right?
Yeah.
Now, I say to you, okay, did you know that it was our grandmothers who knew how to make a fire in such a way that the smoke emissions from that fire emit minimal, do minimal damage to the environment, right? Did you know that it was our grandmothers who knew how to make fuel out of cow dung? Did you know that it was our grandmothers who knew that you needed to plant your crops on a certain side of the mountain because that's when the rain came and you wouldn't need to irrigate, therefore wasting water? So it's not that we don't get it. You cannot teach people about who they are. We are one with the earth. We are one with the earth. I've got a show coming up on SABC2 that speaks about how is Tagazelu, is Dugozetu. All of us, no matter what your language group is, you will make reference to the natural world. You will talk about birds and rivers and animals. You will make reference to the natural world. That is how connected we are to the earth. We don't need somebody to tell us about the environment, right? Just because we don't understand what biodiversity is, or urban greening, or habitat degradation, in those words, rhino poaching, in those words, it doesn't mean we don't understand. We just need to be spoken to, and we need to be talked to about these issues in a manner that we understand. And that's what I've always felt about conservation and the environment and our role as Black people in that space, is that you can drum the academic terms into our heads as much as you like, right? Remind us about our grandmothers, you know? Remind us about our
then
people.
Then you'll know.
Yes.
And you'll see that these people, that our people sustained themselves for so long.
Yes.
And that's what I always find about your work, is that within the conscious messaging, it's got a strong historical tie to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You speak about your show coming up on SABC2, which will be about conservation as well. And I know you also have an NFVF-funded documentary coming up about Chief Makoma. So why these people, why these subjects? Is it because of what you speak about? Because in tying with environment, it's also history.
So I actually don't know the answer to that question, but I have a suspicion. So when I went to go and work in the UK, I remember arriving in London for the first time. Can't remember how old I was, but I remember arriving in London for the first time, and I remember being there for like a day or two and feeling like this is not a culture shock for me. Like, this is a world that I'm comfortable in. I speak the language. Nothing here feels like, nothing here wows me in terms of like something cultural. And then I thought, but it's not about the place, not about England. It's about me. How can I, as an African, a South African, come from Africa and go into Europe for the first time and feel like everything, like I'm comfortable? Do you know what I mean? Began a journey that started off in trickles, but when I came back from the UK a few years later, it became a stronger thing. Who am I? What does it mean to be a South African? What is my history? What is the history of my people? I've been searching for those answers for years in various forms. And so in the position that I'm in now, I have the opportunity to make a product, which is a film or a television show, that will also allow me to feed my need to know who I am and what it means to be, what does it mean to be Ntokozo Mbuli, South African, here now. I believe I'm not the only person that has got those kinds of holes. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And so I want to share that with the people that feel like, I just feel like there's something missing in me. There's some gaps that are missing in me, that I would like to reclaim, that I would like to take back. And I want to share that with others. And so I do that through programming and through films.
I'm just getting schooled now because, you know, we work so much with what we need to do in order to make work, in order to, you know, pay the mortgage. So when I hear you speak so passionately about work that is important to you and taking the knocks and swallowing them and being like, I'm going to stay focused on what I need to do here, is so inspirational. So just thank you so much for that. I want to, you speak a lot about giving back. And I know that you've done a lot of like internship programs and like moved people through into different things. Has this been a difficult endeavor to kind of say, listen, what we need to do is send the elevator down? I know that anytime I've tried to send the elevator down, it's a bit of a fight, you know? There's always some backlash on it. And for you on your scale, how have you managed to handle that?
Yeah, I think I've also experienced that. There is a bit of a backlash, but I don't know if it's like a bugbear. I can't let it go. I can't let sending the elevator down go. I can't not, you know, they call it industry development. I can't not be a part of that because I feel like this industry is so informal. I always say, I talk about, you know, in every other industry, if you want to be a doctor, you have to go to medical school, you have to study medicine for so many years, you have to do your in-service training, you have to do your community service, then you'll become a doctor. If you want to be a lawyer, you will not be otherwise, right?
Yes,
right.
Yes.
And so our industry is so informal that anybody can be anything, right? And then we get lost in that informality, right? Because then we don't even respect our craft, and we don't respect each other's craft. You know, we don't respect writers for writers. We don't respect DOPs for DOPs. We don't respect production designers for production designers, because everybody just does everything, right? And I feel like industry development for me is just more than about giving one young person a chance in the industry. It's also about giving the industry a chance, because then it's very easy to say you don't want whatever, a black female, whatever on your team, because you can't find them. It's very easy to say that. I can't find any good ones. And if you try to interrogate why you can't find any good ones, it's a whole wider conversation about how, you know, we're trained and how and why, and two editors who were probably trained in the same school have got a different way of doing things, and, you know, all of that. But it's about developing the industry, and it's about us respecting our industry. So I still am, our company is very small, so I don't have enough big projects to be able to take an intern, for example, and put them on one of my projects to be able to learn as much as they could learn if they were working like on a big telenovela. Because in my previous job, I ran an incubator program that allowed costume designers to work in the heart of programs that had costumes, you know, and makeup artists to work in shows that had special effects makeup. So what I do for industry development now is that I then help the young people that I bring on into the company to apply for things. I support their applications for things that will teach them, programs that will teach them. We have a young girl, Paul, who wants to be an environmental filmmaker. We helped her through the process of applying for a program that will teach her to be an environmental filmmaker. She can still continue to do that. If it takes her 6 months, 3 months, however long the program is, she can go and do that while we're working, and we will still support her in every way that she needs the support. Up until such time, up until such time that SugarBean Pictures has got the capacity to have people at that kind of senior level that can teach my young people that are coming up, because it's not just about growing the one individual, it's about growing the industry properly, so that as a whole, so that you don't have to, you're not faced with things like, we can't find female directors, good female directors. What is that? Like, why can't you find good female directors? Like, the female directors are everywhere.
They're literally everywhere. What I love about what you're saying is that you're helping them apply, because there seems to be an idea that if you have one intern and that's the person you're going to throw everything on, and then you're going to incubate them and keep them forever and ever. But it's actually important to say, we can't do for you what you need to do in order to become the best version of you. So here are 5 programs, and we're going to, you know, help you with these applications, because that's what's letting us down, is that we don't actually know how to apply. You know, guests on the show before have said, like, applying for funding is incredibly difficult. Applying for any kind of residency is incredibly difficult. You don't understand the jargon, the words, and what is required of you, and you've already disqualified yourself before you even have a chance.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And the one thing that I can take from the last 2 years, from inception up to now, is that we have become master appliers. We apply for everything multiple times. We get rejected. We apply again. We learn lessons. There are video applications. There are online applications. There are physical applications. We've done them all. So if we want to apply for, we are going to come together for our young intern. We're going to apply for the thing for you. And if you need video stuff, we're going to get our camera people to film the video. We're going to get our editors to edit it for you. And that is what you're going to submit for your application. You are not alone, right? And then until such time that we can continue to grow you, because we want you to become a better DOP. I said this to one of my there's a girl, Umpo, that works with us, and she's one such person that we've applied for something for. So she sent me a message back. She got the email. She's been shortlisted. She's so exciting. She's so excited, and she doesn't know what to do right now. And I was like, and she was like, thank you. What I said, it's all you, but you shouldn't suffer because you don't have the resources to have been able to do it yourself. You know, it's your film that you want to make. It's your idea. It's your creative. It's all you. But just because you didn't have a camera, or you didn't have internet, or whatever it is that was required for you to apply, you cannot suffer, because we need more of you. You are an aspiring Black female DOP that one day you will be much sought after, and that's what we need in the industry.
Currently, you are literally the antithesis and the answer to old guard gatekeeping.
Yes.
I ask a lot of people, how do we handle gatekeeping? How do we do it? And this is for the first time I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh shit, I think that's how you do it. I think is that you give resources to those coming up in order for them to penetrate the spaces, because you can't at the moment because what they'll say is that you're overqualified. That's always blows my mind. So you can't do it. But if you can give an employer the resources to do it, you are literally the solution to old white guard. Wow. Okay. Thank you.
They know every Monday, one of the tasks is troll the net for things that you can apply for. Come and tell me. We have a girl, Pumelele. She wants to be a writer, right? But she wants to be a writer in scripted content, right? And we don't have a scripted show. We don't have a scripted show as yet. We're doing a lot of non-scripted stuff and documentary stuff. And our show on SABC2 is a hybrid cultural and natural history program. So I said to her, if you see a masterclass, if you see a workshop, if you see anything, every Monday, that's what we do. We troll the net, we find the things. If you see it, tell me about it. Let's put you in it, you know, so that you can become, while you're busy working on the things that are not really your passion, you don't really want to do documentaries, you want to make a drama series. She's very passionate about stories, right? in the meantime, let's put you in the places, you know,
that you need
that
to
will
be in.
grow you in that space.
Man, I wish I knew you like 10 years ago. Yeah. You have no idea. I want to, I want to talk to you about, you said, and this is a big thing for me, and I know that you kind of feel it the same, is that don't spend too much time trying to get into the boys' club. Rather work on strengthening the girls' club. What did you mean by that?
So one of my frustrations when I started my business was that I didn't realize that when I was at Clive Morris Productions, I was in the boys' club. I didn't realize that, right? Because it's
That
Clive
you
Morris Productions.
yourself was in, okay, yeah.
I was in the
I get
boys'
that.
club because it's Clive Morris Productions. It's
Yes,
the boys' club, right?
yes.
So when I started my business and all the people that were open doors, and by open doors, I just mean like even like open for conversation, you know?
Yes.
People in key places, the gatekeepers, people who were open to a cup of tea, a visit, knock on the door, a text, those doors closed. They closed very quickly, very, very quickly. Then I got annoyed that I can't stand this industry. This industry is a boys' club. All these, I was comparing myself to other companies that started at the same time as me, right? And I was saying, they've got this, they're getting this, they're doing whatever, this show, this film, this whatever, and I can't even get in. And I'm talking about people I know. I'm not talking about the fact that I can't get in to some random space. I can't get into the spaces that I've been in before. And the reason I can't get into them now is because I am not there in the boys' club anymore. I am a Black female-owned company, and I'm trying to penetrate my way in there. Okay. And then at some point, I just thought, stop being bitter about the boys' club. Sorry.
Oh, it's censored lighting. Okay, cool. Yeah. Oh, you got censored lighting in your office, girl.
So at some point I thought, stop being bitter about the boys' club, and just because we all make television and film. And it's not like going to the supermarket and buying a can of beans, where if you don't buy this brand, you're buying that brand. It's not like that. You know, the consumption of television and film is such that there is space for all of us. There is space for you to have a telenovela, and I can have a film, and the next person can do the next thing, and all of that can be consumed by audiences. There's spaces, like, I know there's some broadcasters that are my natural habitat. When I go to A&E networks, for example, I feel at home because those are my channels.
Yes. They make a very specific type of television.
Yes, you know, and the next person, that might not be their space, right? So I thought, stop getting all bitter about this boys' club that may or may not even exist, right? And rather strengthen the girls' club, right? Rather be a part of something that can grow and be stronger and be even better, you know, than the boys' club. And I think that realization happened to me mid last year sometime. And I tell you, it was like a shift, because the boys are not doing anything different. The boys are still carrying on. They didn't do anything different.
The boys didn't change, you had to. Your perspective had to change.
Didn't change. I had to change. And as soon as I did that, there's so many passages and doors that are opening that I didn't see because I was too busy. I was so focused on this whole, I can't penetrate the boys' club and everything is, they get all the shows and they get anything. As soon as I changed my mind about that, I could see opportunities in so many different places. That's how Eisenhower happened. That's how so many beautiful things in the journey of my business have happened in the last few months, ever since I had that mind shift.
That is like everything. I think when people say like create your own table, you know, it's kind of in line with that. But it's so much more than that, because you said because you don't want to change what currently is, but you want to make your own way, and that it's about the self to accept that. I've had a similar feeling where I'm just like, oh, I don't understand why this happens, as soon as the head writer is a male, it feels like everything happens much more quickly and easier, but it's not that, and if it is that, that has nothing to do with me. That is none of my business. That's the real shift, is that you're just like, okay, if you call it a boys club, I'm not going to burn it down. They must have a boys club. Yes.
That's nice for them, but
you need to go on. I love that. I absolutely love that. And also, you mentioned there quickly that you've got the Eisenhower Scholarship, and what, for those people who don't know, is that is like the most important. Go Google it and try and apply for it. But you have to be on Dox's level to kind of get through. So congratulations on that as well.
Thank you.
I want to speak about your show that you created, which I was head writer on, which was such a great experience for me. It's a medical drama, and correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I do believe this is the only medical drama since Josie H that South Africa has had, which is purely procedural, which means different story every week, medical drama. So it was very exciting to be part of this show that you created. I think it was such a blessing for me. And, I have, a lot of people might not know, but I have an MBCHB from the School of Meredith Grey. So really, I'm basically a doctor, and I've been studying since maybe 2008. So
do
So tell us about the show and how it came about and how you got the idea, because it's very exciting.
Okay. So I feel very emotional about it, because this was a 2014. This idea came in 2014. So at Clive Morris Productions, Clive had this thing that every second Tuesday or something, I can't remember, we have to come and we have to bring ideas to the table, and we used to do like something fun, like put the idea in a balloon, and then we had balloons in the boardroom, and then you pop the balloon, and then there's an idea, and then you do like a mini elevator pitch for your idea, right? But then I was so snowed under that I didn't have an idea to bring to the table. And I remember I was just driving to work that day. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Clive is going to be so mad that I didn't bring an idea. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yes.
So then I just thought, we had been working on Ashes to Ashes, and on Ashes to Ashes, someone had an accident, and then they were in the hospital, and there were a lot of hospital scenes, right? So I had been going to the set of Ashes to Ashes at the hospital, and that was like on my mind. And then I was just like, what if we did a medical drama? I think we could do a medical drama, and I think we could have this guy, and then, started thinking about the lead character. This is now all on the drive to work. So we get to the meeting. And I write my little idea on the notebook, medical drama, but most it's not a pitch because I don't know anything else about it. And we put in the balloon, we pop the balloon, and then Clive was like, oh, okay, medical drama. So what happens in the medical drama? And I didn't know what happens in the medical drama because I was not prepared. And I said, it's in Davidton. That's what happening in Davidton. And there's this character, this guy, and something's gonna happen. And then I was like, okay, tell us more, work on it and tell us more. And then I never brought that idea back to the table again until months later, because like I say, when things come to you, they come organically, and I can't sit down and like write a proposal or a treatment for a whole drama series when you give me 5 days to do it. I can't do it like that. So I just parked it. It was on my board. It was on Clive's board, and he would ask me about it every now and then. What's happening with this? And then eventually it was a fully fledged concept.
Yeah.
It was inspired by various experiences that I've had with, people that I know. There's a character there. I don't want to give too much story away, but there's a female lead in the story whose story with her family and her experience in the nursing world and where she had come from was inspired by when I was in the UK and the South African nurses that used to work there in the UK and their relationship with their families. So bits and pieces, it came in bits and pieces, and then it was eventually a full proposal, and it was pitched everywhere. It was pitched everywhere. It was even pitched to medical aids, let me tell you.
Wow, okay, yeah.
Nobody wanted it because it was a procedural.
Yes.
And apparently South Africans don't like procedurals.
We've
right?
heard this before.
We've heard the story before. So I'm actually very interested to know what the audience is going to say about this, because I think it's a pretty damn good procedural drama. You came on board some like 2 or 3 years later, after the proposal was defined. You put together a writing team, and we just went for it. We had the most amazing story workshops. We brought the doctors in. We learned the jargon. We started, I started saying like random medical terms like in conversation.
Oh, yes,
to,
yes, definitely.
Just to show that I can say I know big medical words. Yeah, I'm so excited about it. It's very special to me that even after I've left, Clive called me. He said, can you come to my office and meet with me tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock? I remember when I just read that 8 o'clock, I was like, this is one of the reasons why I left your company, Clive.
8 a.m. meetings, got you.
Yeah, and he said to me, listen, it's finally going to production, girl.
Oh.
You cannot do it without you.
So what was the feeling? Like, what was the feeling to know that something that is your brainchild, that you've written down, particularly in a genre that you don't necessarily do a lot of work in because you do a lot of non-scripted reality documentary stuff. This is a scripted drama series, 13-part on SABC.
I cannot explain it, Sunny. I can't explain it. The thing that makes Vuta so special to my heart is that I had been a little piece of some dramas that have happened over the course of my career. I've sat in the story room, I've read scripts, I've looked, I've been on set, I've had a little piece of a lot of the work that we've done. I've worked on a docket, I've worked on Ashes to Ashes. So drama is not completely foreign to me. I've written scripts, but I can literally, like, this idea was seeded. It was seeded by me. And because I have that weird way of working where I can't commit to, I'll have it ready for you in 3 weeks' time. And it was just something that was just parked on Clive's board and on my board. And he just kept on asking me, how are we doing with this? How are we doing with this? And I would write a little bit, and then I would send it through for people to give comments and all of that. Because I was working that way, a lot of me is in that story. Whereas other people work differently, and because other people work differently, we would get together, we would have workshop, we would talk about it, we would, and so much of me is in that story. So much of me is in that story, and it's amazing. So many firsts. It was the first time I had. I mean, today I posted on my Instagram that at the table read, I was listening to the cast saying the words that were on the page, and I was like having flashbacks of every time we were in the story room, and either you or Rorisang or Sizwe or the doctors would make a comment, say something that would lead to that line in the page,
Yes.
When I went on set and the performances were they blew me away. I can't tell you that, like, what CMP has done for me by allowing me to be part of the story to the finish is something that is forever embedded in my heart. And it was also a lesson in collaboration. We are not the competition. I didn't leave my former employer to be their competition. I left my former employer to be another player in this space and there's always room for collaborative efforts.
I think I know exactly this feeling that you talk about. Like, I can see your eyes are getting like emotional and all of that. Is that when you've written something and there is such a big part of you inside it, and then you see it played back to you, or you see it acted, it's like nothing. It's like nothing you can explain to anyone else unless they've been through that process as well.
Yeah.
So I completely see you on that, and I think it's so great. We had such a good time developing this show. And I can't believe it's happening after all this time, and how hard you worked on it to get it done, especially because of the difficulty of procedurals, which I've said is like, you know, story per episode. I'm so moved by what you said.
And
I'm
your
so glad.
task was very hard. Your task was very hard because you had to do the procedural thing in half an hour.
Difficult.
Story per episode in half an hour. It is hard.
Yes. So for those who maybe don't understand it, there's half an hour drama and there's 48-minute drama, which is the hour-long drama. And in an hour-long, you get to explore a whole storyline properly, like your CSI or even a Grey's Anatomy. But in half an hour, you have to get the story out much quicker, and it's much more difficult to do simply because you have to do it at a much speeded up pace. Okay, well, I'm really glad it's happening. To plug it, it's Thursday nights.
Tomorrow
at 9:30 on SABC2. It is a Ntokozo Mbuli production. It's
actually the Clive Morris Productions production.
Yes,
but created by me.
Created by Ntokozo Mbuli, head written by myself. I think it's so fitting that you have been the guest tonight. To wrap up season 1 of Rewriting the Script. You've dropped so many pearls and gems, and through your passion and how you've spoken and what you've spoken about has been so important for us. So I really want to thank you for your time so much. Thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Sunny. Thank you. This has been so amazing.
It's an absolute pleasure. And to everyone who has tuned in and has been watching and has been with us every single episode, thank you. Thank you so much. I am eternally grateful to you guys. I'm eternally grateful for your engagement and what this platform has done. We started this show with a distinct and deliberate mandate to create a platform for Black female creators, and to have a voice for those who create a lot of the television and create a lot of and mold a lot of South Africa's television and film landscape, but never get the chance to speak. And that's why it's been very important for me to not only have writers and directors, but cinematographers, producers, executive producers, production managers, everyone who works behind the scenes. So I'm really, really grateful that you've joined us for season 1 of Rewriting the Script. I know this is not the last season, and we're going to come back with even more creatives and more people. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ntokozo, for your time. And thank you, everyone, every week for staying with us. I really appreciate it. God bless.